How are you, Ritwik? Congratulations for the success of your film Maja and for delivering a brilliant performance in the role of Tejas Patel. So, to start with, what is the most meaningful compliment that you got for your role in this film?
Oh wow, the most meaningful compliment. Uh, I think a lot of people said, okay, let me tell you one. One thing that really stayed with me, a comment that I got, a review that I got from a friend of mine actually, and that person said that you've been offered to play a character that is probably every boy that has been living in this country and has been brought up with the same values or similar values, and probably would never know what he or she would do if thrown in a situation like this. And you've done an absolute realistic justice to it, and I really feel that it's a compliment to the writers first than to the actor, but because it was given to me, I'm going to keep that and be happy about it.
Talking about your character, in Majama, your character comes out harsh when he finds out that his mother is a lesbian. And then he allowed her to go through a very cruel lie detector test. When you're playing a character whose actions or whose values or mindset are different from your own, how do
Correct.
you achieve that? And how do you get into the head of the character who behaves in a way that perhaps you would never behave?
Very honestly, I had plenty of questions to the for the director and the writers, because I myself, when I read the script and saw what happens to the character's arc towards the second half, was really thrown off a little bit, and I didn't know how to get into this headspace or what to do with a character like this and conversations like this. But our director very simply said that, listen, we cannot judge somebody according to the ideologies we live by and the kind of lives that we've lived. Hence, when you approach Tejas, just make sure that you try and understand why, and you understand the position he is in and the things that are happening to him in the past 1 week, in those 7 days. His he's already pressurized by his in-laws. His engagement might just get thrown off, and his biggest strength in his life, his mother, has been put in a spot, and he just does not know what to do. He's a guy under pressure who just wants the best to happen for him and people around him. But when it's not, you never know which way one's mind is going to go. And Tejas chose one way and decided to come back and circle the arc. And then I realized, yes, everybody has their own thoughts and their own ways of going about things. I was a little concerned with Kiar, very honestly, कि यार इसको villain ना बना दे, क्योंकि
Yeah.
ये विलन है नहीं, ये बस एक लड़का है जिसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि अब करे क्या. So but I guess if that's really come out, and if it's come out in that way, the kudos to our director Anand sir, because he was very clear about the fact कि ये villain नहीं है, ये गलत नहीं है, इसे बस पता नहीं करना क्या है.
So then, Ritvik, would you say this was by far the most challenging role in your filmography? Would you say?
Yes. Yes, I actually agree with you. I agree with you. Nobody's really asked me this. You're the only one who's asked me this, but I have asked this question to myself. That I I have never had to think about the repercussions of an action that my character might do. This was the only time I actually felt it, because even if you take Whistleblower and Dr. Sanketan, that was a really flawed guy.
Yeah.
But putting him in the context of things and the kind of palette that show had, at the end of the day, he comes out as a hero and all that jazz. But with Tejas, it was a very thin line to catch. So it was very challenging, not as an actor, but more as a human being to understand him. And thank God for a director like Anand sir, who's really, really like shaped my mind into understanding more people than just myself.
Your character speaks Gujarati while
Yeah.
conversing with his family.
Yes.
How does the understanding of the language that character speaks helps an actor? And is that all you need?
Oh no, no, not at all. I think for me, it has always been a journey from inward to outward. It is more about the emotions, the situations, the kind of psyche that one lives with, and then how he looks, how he walks, how he speaks, and so on and so forth. But I don't think language is a huge cultural reference to just understand where they come from and what kind of ideologies they might or might not have, because it comes from history. So language definitely really helps you to build a character. Uh, but there is so much more, like I had to speak a little bit of Gujarati in this film. I had to play a Gujarati boy from a Gujarati family from Gujarat. And I've grown up with friends who are Gujarati, with colleagues who are Gujarati, Parsis who speak Gujarati. So I've grown up with this language, I've grown up with this culture all around me, but I've seen different people from the same culture. So thank God for my existing reference points, that I could figure that there is no one way of playing a Gujarati boy, that you can just be you and still be from Gujarat. And that is where I tried and found Tejas Patel.
Talking about playing different characters and acting process.
Yeah,
I came across this document about acting. It was titled "Know Your Non-Verbal Skills." So, according to it, the on-camera actors must know three channels of non-verbal communication: the body, the voice, and the face. So, what
correct.
is your approach when it comes to performing a big high voltage scene? Do you like to internalize the tension and then perform? Or are you the one who knows how that emotion looks like and you have to just go and act it out?
Well, that's a very good question. So I it's both. Very honestly, it's both. I do feel that bringing truth to what's happening to that character at that point has to be internal. Otherwise it can't be the truth. The truth always appears from the inside. So I have to feel what this guy is feeling. I have to be in the moment. I have to be attentive. I have to be present. And that is the most important thing, firstly, to approach a scene. Two, many a times when you drown yourself at the present moment in the situation, in the emotion, you react in ways that probably the character would not react, or probably wouldn't be the tonality of the scene. Then that needs to be crafted and choreographed. Then you realize, okay, the pitching needs to be lower. Okay, it is more non-physical, it is more verbose, or it is more about the voice and your eyes than it is about physical anger or frustration. So then that can be crafted and choreographed, but the most important thing is to be in the moment and to honestly just feel the truth of the character.
You're a creative mind,
Right.
who actually gives his best to each of his roles, irrespective
Thank
of how the whole film shapes up finally. But do you think all an actor wants is appreciation for his work? Would you agree with that? And what is your take on that?
So I think everybody is just working for some sort of validation. Everybody across the world is just working for some sort of validation, and actors get mass validation. They get validated not just from their wives or children or colleagues or bosses. They get appreciated and validated from an entire wave of audience that are watching their work. So it's it is a tad bit, for the lack of a better word and without the negative connotation to it, it's a tad bit addictive. So actors do crave it a lot, and but other than that, honestly, truly, as a person who loves cinema and who's always been in love with cinema, I think there is no better satisfaction than the journey of creating a story, than the reviews or the love, genuinely. And I'm not trying to be philosophical about this or anything,
Very
because
honest.
I genuinely feel like today also, if I sit and speak about, say, Bandish Bandits, I will speak more about how it was shot and how much fun we had and so on and so forth, than sitting in a room and discussing this is the review we got. Because after a point, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The product puts up in its own shelf life. They are living their own lives. And the only thing we are left with are memories. And that's what life is all about, right? So I think there's nothing more satisfying than a good journey with a good team of people.
Last time when we spoke, you said it was work in progress for the second season of your hit Amazon Prime show, Bandit
Yes.
Bandits. What is
Yes.
the status on that, and how soon are you going to start shooting for Bandit Bandits 2?
You can see the smile on my face. It is giving away a lot, a lot more than people would actually want me to say. But it is way closer than it appears. Genuinely, it is almost there.
Now Bandish Bandits is all about Indian classical music.
Right.
While working on the show, how has your understanding of music changed, or has it changed?
A lot, a lot. Genuinely. Earlier, I've always been a fan of music. I've always like spent my days. If I have nothing to do, I'm always listening to music for sure. Even when I'm spacing out, I'm listening to music and spacing out, and that just happens every day. And what changed for me after having done Bandish Bandits is I started now understanding the musician behind the music and started respecting them. And I've always respected them, but just found a new form of respect for them, because I know now that it takes so much more for an artist to bring out their art that lives forever. so much more than it that one can comprehend. It's not everybody's cup of tea to just comprehend what is going through with an artist. And when I started realizing that, thanks to Bandish Bandits, music just meant something else suddenly. Now music for me is truly like an organ being pulled out of a musician's body and then put inside a box and then kept in a casket forever for people to just be amused by. And that really hits me in places that I've never felt it before. And so yeah, I think that's what Bandish did for me. It just music just became the essence of life. You know how I for the longest time I always believed that love is the fuel that this world is running on, genuinely, at least for human beings. I mean, every species, very honestly. Now I know music is a form of nothing but pure love. It is just pure love, and the kind of effect it can have on you is just beautiful. Genuinely, I'm getting emotional talking about it.
We can clearly see there's a team being formed led by director Anand Tiwari, Amritpal Bindra, and Ritwik Bhowmik. Each of your collaborations so far has got thumbs up from the audience. So,
Right.
safe to say that Anand Tiwari understands you the most and knows the potential of your of the acting powerhouse, Ritwik Bhowmik.
Oh my God. I hope I'm going to actually screen record this interview and send it to Mr. Anand Tiwari and tell him that look what people are saying. But no, I think there is some sort of unsaid faith that the both of us have on each other. I think he's a superlative director because I know I've had conversations with him, spent so much time with him in the past 7, 8 years that I understand the way he looks at cinema and what he feels about cinema. And I share that feeling with him. And it's very important to work with people, especially in a field of art, in a creative field. It's very important to work with people who are like minded because if we don't come together in the same page, that page won't be clear. And I think what Anand Sir, Amrit, and I have formed together so far in whatever projects we've done is a very smooth understanding of what we want to do, who we are, and where we want to go with it. And I think that is what has worked so far.
You know, as an actor, what do you find more challenging, drama or comedy?
I think comedy is more difficult than drama, very honestly, as an actor. But I'm a sucker for comedy. I'm dying to do comedy. I love comedy. I'm a huge fan of comedy. But hopefully soon somebody will just see the absolute crazy fun side of me and would want to have me in a comedy project. But yeah, I think as an actor, comedy, it's easy to laugh at a joke than to make somebody else laugh at the one that you're trying to crack.
But as an actor, do you prefer to be directed, like to be briefed precisely in a pinpointed way, or are you the type who likes to perform a scene in different ways by giving options to the director and maybe leave it on him to pick the way he wants to go?
No, I'm genuinely, I'm a complete director's actor, and I'm not saying this to be mollycoddly with directors, but genuinely, I feel like if the director really says that come up with your own interpretation of the scene, I'll come up with it, and I'll come up with like variations to it and options to show him and so on and so forth. But if I know that the director has complete clarity of how this scene, how this moment needs to be performed, or how it needs to be just choreographed and so on and so forth, I will be completely subservient to that vision because I truly believe that at the end of the day, cinema is a director's medium. It's their vision, their story, and how they want to say it. And very rarely do you come up with, at least in our times right now, do you come up with directors like you work with directors who have that much clarity of what they're saying. But when they do, you've got to respect it. You've just got to cater to their vision. And I like that.
And finally, Ritvik, how often do you get influenced by watching a brilliant performance by another actor, especially while you're shooting a movie or a series?
I'm very often highly impressed by most actors that I watch because I know that it's, I mean, I'm not saying it's such a tough job, but I just know as an actor that it's not the easiest job in the world. But I see some people do like fantastic work, and I've been watching since like I was a child, and like till date, Irfan sir's work just blows my mind, and I just cannot decipher how he does what he does. There is no one way of doing things. That's what he's proven. So I get very, very impressed and very, very in awe of these performances. But influenced, I don't know. Not yet. I feel like everything that I have done so far, or any other actor that they have done so far, has come from somewhere. It is either influenced by some other actor or some person they've seen, or from their life experiences or something that they've imagined. But ekdam just pick up somebody's performance and try to do it, I haven't tried so far. In the recent past, when I got very affected as an actor, and that was like for like 2 seconds or something, that something hit me, and I was like frozen for the next 30 seconds. I was watching Uri, and there is the funeral scene where the kid is screaming out the war cry, and there is a split second of a reaction on Mr. Vicky Kaushal's face, and I love Vicky Bhai. He's fantastic as an actor. Where he's doing the war cry and he just can't say it anymore for a second and goes back to being just stoic and an army man. That 1 second hit me so hard, and my brain moved from being an audience of the film to an actor who works professionally. That is a tough thing to do, and I know it. Until date, I'm trying to not copy what he's done in that scene, but try to find that kind of truth and that kind of being present in the moment, and that the kind of attention being channelized into one emotion. I'm still trying to figure that out, how to do it. Probably I'll sit with Vicky Bhai one day and ask him, what's up? How do you do it?
Hopefully you'll get maybe in your next project. Till then, we are eagerly waiting for what you do next. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.